Hi Hope. 6 or 7 years ago we asked Paul and Grace if they'd consider becoming part of Hope and helping us to move more powerfully in the gifts and life of the Holy Spirit. And they were up for that, and they said that they'd also, as part of it, like to bring some teaching on the character and nature of God and why did Jesus have to die, that they thought would really help us to move into this freedom of the life that Jesus has for us. So over the past 6 or 7 years, Paul's been speaking quite regularly on Sunday mornings. If you've been around, you'll have heard those talks. And we've actually asked him now if he'll take us a bit deeper as a whole church community. I want to explain a bit about why that's now, and then after me speak, there's a bit from Paul where he gives more of an introduction to the Introduction to Trinitarian Faith course, and then there's a piece from Jo Sweetland where she shares some of her experience of having done this course a few years ago. So Alice and I have been really tracking with Paul and Grace on this for quite a long time. There's some quite significant and fundamental pieces of the Trinitarian Faith course that maybe are different to the Christianity that maybe quite a lot of us have grown up with, if we've grown up in the church, or if we haven't, if we're newer to following Jesus. Likewise, we can have these misconceptions about what God is like just through our life's experiences, and the course comes and challenges those, and because they're quite weighty and substantial things, we've wanted to take time to check them all out, and we've been speaking to other theologians, and just wanted to make sure this is sound, this is solid, and we're at a place now where we want to really do that as a whole community. That we've already seen and experienced a lot. I've shared some of my stories, a lot of life and a lot of freedom from this teaching that Paul's been bringing. I still have some questions about it. I've got questions around judgment, for example, and I don't see necessarily that's fully my understanding of that from reading the Gospels and the Bible is fully explained or communicated through the Trinitarian Faith course. But we feel it's like time to go on this together as a whole church community, not as us having all the answers and straight away and saying you come and adopt this same thing. We want you to take all this on, but saying let's grapple with this together. And here's why. We're at a time and in a place when we're hearing stirrings of people moving towards God, people having, particularly amongst Generation Z. Alice has talked about this, hasn't she? And we're hearing about these people coming to faith, and so part of our calling and our design as a church is to help people outside the church discover who God is and what it's like to truly live in partnership with God through Jesus. So us knowing and understanding the gospel in a way that we can be free ourselves and share with others is absolutely vital. And I would go so far, I think, to say that we are what's a good word? Maybe use the word crippled in terms of our mission. I think within Hope, I don't think it's something we're strong in at all. We recognise the importance of workplace and our different settings as places of ministry, but I don't think we have the same sort of missional intent and purpose that Jesus had, that the Apostle Paul had, and that we see in the Bible. I think for a lot of us, the word evangelism is a difficult word for us, a difficult concept for us, and I don't see us as having an energy and a momentum in sharing our faith, or a language, or a way or a confidence in doing that. And it's something that we need because we see it in the life of Jesus. And I think that this course will help us to move into freedom in that, as we more fully understand really what the good news is all about. And there's a couple of scriptures that Alice highlighted. She's out shopping with Jemima right now, that I just wanted to share with you. It says in Acts chapter 17, verse 11, it talks about these Berean Jews. Now the Berean Jews were of more noble character than those in Thessalonica, for they received the message with great eagerness and examined the scriptures every day to see if what Paul said was true. We want to do that as a church in this season, looking at this teaching with Paul, to examine this teaching, and as we do that, just by being in the scriptures together, by seeking God together for a revelation of who he is and what he's like and why Jesus died, we're all going to benefit from that. It's going to be great. And then secondly, in Thessalonians This is Thessalonians 5:20. Do not quench the spirit. Do not treat prophecies with contempt, but test them all. Hold on to what is good. Reject every kind of evil. So, really just wanted to commend this to you, and I think it's an exciting learning season for us that will be part of our journey of bringing life to the city, the Greater Bristol area, those around us, as we get to know God more fully, more deeply, encounter Jesus more and the power of his death and his resurrection. Here's Paul.
Hey everyone, Paul here. Excuse the rainbow, I realised I still have it on. Evangeline was playing with face paints today. But it's a nice, bright and sunny, cheerful day. And I've got some good news as well. So I guess it's topical. So we're going to be launching the Introducing the Trinitarian Faith course in Hope from September. This is a course that some people in the church have done already. I co-wrote it with Dr. C. Baxter Kruger, who's a theologian and evangelist based in the US. You can look him up. He's written a number of books. And there's all sorts of videos and things online he's done too. If anyone's engaged with any of the podcasts and things I've done over the last few years, or have been in the meetings that I've been sharing in on a Sunday morning, you'll have kind of caught some of the flavour of the sort of content that we cover in the ITTF course. But it's basically it's 12 sessions where we go through the foundations of the Christian faith. We look at the patristics, or the early church fathers. We look at the Reformation. We look at the Trinitarian vision and how this is central to our faith, and the way in which this it changes and augments and upgrades the way that we see everything else. So we're committed to a message of a good news gospel that doesn't have any bad news in it, a message of the love of God, that God is light, in him there's no shadow of turning. If you've heard my sharing, we're using the three chairs and looking at the God as a trinity that includes us in their interrelatedness, rather than the kind of distant God up on the balcony, being disapproving and critical and all of these things. If that sort of thing has spoken to you at all or resonated with you at all, this is the course where we do a deep dive into the long history of the theological conversations, controversies, and queries that the church has had around this topic. So there's a number of people in the church who've done the course, and I think I'm not speaking out of turn to say that it's been life transforming for all of them. Certainly life transforming for me and for the many hundreds of people around the world who've been through it already. So what we normally do with the course is we run a seminar once a week with a video to watch beforehand, but we're going to stretch it out over a number of months to make it as accessible as possible for as many people as possible in Hope. And what we're going to do is have so all the videos are going to be made available to everybody right from the start, so you can go through entirely at your own pace. We also have a handbook which I wrote that's got extra readings and exercises and things. Again, you're welcome to do as much or as little of that as you want to do. And then on the third Wednesday of the month, we're going to do a meal and an in-person discussion seminar time at Hope, where we're going to dig into various topics that come up through the course. Also, we'll probably support that with some online seminar sessions too, because I get with people with childcare responsibilities and things, maybe only one of a couple might be able to come on an evening, or for other reasons, people might not be able to get there. And we want to make this as accessible as possible to everyone. So I'm going to be sharing a bit more about this on an upcoming Sunday in Hope. In the meantime, feel free to ask me any questions or any of the other alumni. And I look forward to going on this next step of the journey with you. I hope you're enjoying the hot weather. Blessings for now.
Jez and I did the Trinitarian Faith course in lockdown, and it was a fantastic opportunity to spend 12 weeks listening to the teaching of Baxter Kruger, and then have space facilitated by Paul afterwards in groups to discuss and unpack some of the teaching that we'd listened to. And I think, having been a Christian all my life, it's interesting to realise that you have some pretty solid based assumptions which maybe you've never questioned, and yet sit there maybe as uncomfortable truths, or at least perceived truths. And it was so fascinating and so challenging and so enriching to unpack some of those deep beliefs and go back to the very core of what it is to be a follower of Jesus. And the course was amazing and has liberated us and brought great freedom into our faith journey. And the gospel is simply more beautiful and more exciting, and I really encourage you to do it.